Got almost all the front suspension parts on. I've got the aluminum spindle. I'm waiting on the lower ball joint to come in. Wicked Fab control arms take a 2-wheel drive bolt on lower ball joint for this new setup here. So I'm waiting on those to come in, and then I can throw this back together. Pretty much everything's new up here. CV axles, tie rods, coilover, torsion bar delete, upper and lower control arms, new spindles, aluminum spindles. Just gonna fill it up until it starts coming out the fill port. We should be good to go. I took the drain plug out and the fill plug, cleaned them off real good, put them back in there. So I fill it up, put the fill port back in, and the oil change will be done on the front differential. Mine took close to 2 quarts before it started pouring out over here. Once it starts flowing out the fill port, you know you got enough in there. Tighten those back down, and that's all it is to change that front diff fluid. I took the skid plate off to get to that lower bolt, make it a little bit easier. So now I'm gonna clean it up a good bit with some degreaser and get it bolted back on there, and that'll be a wrap for that. Got my skid plate cleaned up. I'm about to slide up under the truck and get it thrown back on, and then we'll get on to the next project. I started on some wiring on the truck. I've got the line lock back here. That's where I'm going to have it mounted on this line up, just to cut off the brakes to the rear. When I push the button in, I need an adapter for right here. Or really, that should be perfect for that. That's going to screw in there. I'm going to bend this around, or either cut it somewhere back here. Once I bend it into the inlet port, reflare this tubing, or either if I can bend this around right here and make it, somehow fit up and still look clean, then we'll do that. But I need a little adapter for here. I've got my fuel pump wiring. This is a power wire from the hot wire kit. Once the front suspension's done and I can get the jack stands out from under the front, I'm gonna lift up back here, flip the axle, C-notch the frame. I'm gonna get some new brackets from Assassin that'll work with the flip kit. I've got the fuel pump relay, the hot wire kit all right here. That's the ground, power going into the little fuse. From the little fuse up to the battery. This is just an accessory wire I took off. That's powering my switches right here. Y'all see that? That's line lock and 2-step. Got both of those wired completely up. Got a ground running right here for it. Next, I'm gonna start on this bottle opener. Get the whole nitrous situated, wired in. Here's the panel for it. You got the arm, heater, opener, should be open, close. For my purge valve. I think I'm gonna mount this tank right here. It just fits pretty good in that little groove right there. Easy to read from the side. I might still run a valve, a little nozzle somewhere. Kind of have to see from that. I'm not really worried about the nitrous yet. I just want to get the truck running under its own power, moving pretty good. And then once we're trying to, get the most out of it, we'll start breaking into the nitrous. But I would like to have it all wired up anyway. Transmission is out. It's going back in as soon as I get it rebuilt. I got a Jake's trans brake going in. But I pulled this transmission out because it burned up on me. One reason I think is because the plug's internally leaking right here. So that was just causing like grounding issues, all type of, and I think that kind of had a big role in why this transmission went out. When I got the converter off and saw these, nick marks right here, I started looking, all of them tight, except for that one. I'm guessing the transmission builder didn't torque this one down. You do stuff so many times and you think, oh, I'm good. and then you start forgetting stuff is what I would guess happened to her. Transmission's gonna get a fresh rebuild, a different company this time, more reputable person, let me say. Once we get the transmission back in and the suspension done, I've got a few other odds and end things, but that's about it. It's gonna go back together. So I've got all of the parts for this side laid out. I just wanted to keep it on till I got the other side off, just in case I ran into any crazy issues. I'll paint all this like I did the driver's side. But yeah, it's getting close. I've been working on it as much as I can, trying to get this thing figured out, take my time, get everything wired right. But it's gonna be a bad little truck, 4-wheel drive. I did get the shifter mounted up. Thought that's pretty cool. I switched from the push button 4-wheel drive to floor mount 4-wheel drive now. So shocks for the rear, but it's coming along. A lot of progress. The 2-step wired up to one of the buttons you saw in there. Or that's actually just the harness. I'll show you all the button. We got 2-step, we got line lock. And those the harnesses plug right into these. These are, say, billet automotive specialty buttons or something. I think the guy's out of Canada. Takes a little while to get them in, but there's some jam up buttons. They work good. They look good. They got LED lights when you push them in. As soon as I get the rear cut out, then the bed's going back on. Then the fuel will be completely tied in. Like you see now, I got the power wire, so all I have to do is run a power and ground to that, and the fuel pump will be ready. I've already got the key switch kind of tied into an accessory, so that's going to be coming on. I'm really happy with how the front suspension turned out. Like I said, these are wicked fab upper and lower control arms. You can find the guy on Instagram and Facebook, I'm pretty sure. I'll drop his @ down there if you're interested. But coilovers look good. I added the bump stock right here, cut the factory one off. So that's it. That's how she's looking right now. Alright, so here's what it looks like finished. I got the driver's side completely done. Everything torqued down. Alignment kind of eyeballed. There's some new bump stock down there. Bump stop. I'm talking about a damn gun over here. It's pretty clean. I like the way it turned out. I'm gonna get new rotors and calipers and pads and all, but hell, I had these. They're really not that old. They just been sitting up, so. But I threw those on it for now. Ready to get tires back on the front so that I can see how low this thing's gonna be. I think it's gonna look pretty damn good. But I got the aluminum spindle on this side, the tie rod, lower ball joint, everything put together pretty much. Just got her down. Got a bump stop. Tried to paint everything up. I'm going to get a new CV axle today for this side. I hate to have just one new one. And then from there is putting the hub back on, putting the rotor on, the caliper, the pads, and we're going down. Be able to get the front on the ground and see how low it is, see how it looks. There's little guides here on the shocks that you can bring them down. Or actually, I did it on the other side. This little rubber guide right here. It shows you where the shocks traveled to. So once I set it down and ride around, eventually I'll be able to make sure that the ride height's in the right spot and all. I've greased all the bearings, I've greased all the bushings, but it's coming on together. This thing's gonna be back on the road before too long. I'm stoked on how it turned out with the Wicked Fab lower control arms, you don't have to cut. This thing right here, it's got, I mean, it's just tight in there. It's got a 1/2 inch room, but the bracket on the bottom's further out than the factory would be. So it's not gonna touch that. You really don't have anything to worry about. The bump stop with it mounted right here, bump stop, it maxes out, and I still have about 1/2 inch of shock left, so that's good. It's never gonna damage the shock. But yeah, I'm ready to get everything back together. I'm gonna turn it the fuck up. So I finally got all the suspension tied up, and jack stands out from under it, and this thing is low. I have never seen my truck this low. Had the same size 15, got it stock. As soon as I got it, I put a lift kit on it, and damn, I love it. This don't even really do it justice. Like, you see how much is nose diving right now? And that's stock in the rear. So once I C-notch it, flip the axle, we're gonna have us a down low rider here, cuz. But I'm about to roll it out, clean it up. It's been sitting on those jack stands for a while. It's got a bunch of dirt and grime on it. I might even take the hood off, clean up under that. So I got the truck all cleaned up. It came pretty damn clean. It's been needing that for a while, but like I said, it's been on jack stands, so I wasn't gonna spray it down in the shop. But probably about a wrap for this video. I'm gonna roll it back in there and get started on the next project. But y'all will be the first to see it. Just keep checking the uploads, and content will keep rolling out. It's gonna get better and better. You know, I'm still getting used to the editing software and all that I got, but it's coming on together. I cannot wait to get this thing completely finished up and make some pulls in it. Y'all stay tuned, give it a like and subscribe, and we out.